いいよ、ゆっくり入って。
ひなたも一緒に入るんだよ。
え、
こっちのお風呂の使い方わからないもん。ひなたが一緒に入ってくれないと。
いや、それは教えるし。
ねえ、ひなた、お願い。
わかったよ。
The Yandere Elf. Ew. What an awful start. Ew. Oh, what the hell are you doing? The Yandere Dark Elf chased me all around the way from the other world. That is not the title either. That's not the title either. Can you believe that? The Yandere Dark Elf, she chased me all the way from another world. That's the title of the show. Okay, here's the thing, my friends. This was on my list of anime to watch this season, but it committed a few atrocious crimes that I just cannot let go. First off, I hate shorts. When it comes to like these short animes, like these short, 10-minute, 12-minute, really short shows, I just don't like. Because at the end of the day, this one's scheduled, I think, for 12 episodes. So 12 by 12, that means you're going to end up getting like 480 minutes? Is that what that is? Did I just do math? Did I just botch it? Something like that? You're gonna get 12 by 12, 144. That's Jesus Christ, I can't do math today. You're gonna get 144 minutes of content. If you divide that by 60, you're gonna get 2.4 hours, which is like, 2.4 hours of content spread throughout 12 weeks, which I think really, really sucks, because at the end of the day, your normal anime is about 20 minutes long. They usually run for about 23 minutes, but you spread that, you get 240 minutes. And with that, you get about 4 hours of content, about double the amount of content. So that's the first thing, is it's a short anime, and I just really don't like covering shorts. Second thing is it's pure fan service, which, at the end of the day, pure fan service is fine, if that's what you're into. I talked about this with another show that launched this season. Hey, if you're just looking for fan service, if you're looking for borderline hentai, but you don't actually want to go watch hentai, hey, totally fine. I get it. You know what I mean? But there's a lot of good hentai out there if that is what your cup of fancy is. But if you just want something that's borderline, but you're not trying to, go all the way, then this show might be for you. The other portion of the audience, which is kind of like me, is somebody who doesn't necessarily I'm not necessarily seeking out fan service, but if there so happens to be fan service or a lot of it, but it's alongside comedy or a really good story, then I think it's totally fine. Good examples of that is like there's a Demon Lord anime. And I think that one is it's a lot of fan service, but it's also really, really good. I think even like Redo Healer it's a really like gory, it's a really crazy story, but there's a lot of like fan service, a lot of hentai, a lot of like, borderline hentai stuff in that show. Well, if you go for the uncensored version, basically it is a hentai. But I think like the actual core story is actually pretty good. You know what I mean? Like it sometimes it's not exactly my cup of tea, but I would say, I can understand why somebody really likes them. High School DxD, I love the story of High School DxD. I think it's so stupid, so whatever. And even though Issei is not my favorite character in the world, I really like that show. So when it comes to this one here, right, you have Hinata, and Hinata went and he beat the Demon Lord. He was beamed back to Japan. He starts living his normal life, and he has Maribel, who's this dark elf, who is obsessed with him, and she follows him back, through, after like a month after he's transported, she follows him back to Japan, and she was able to transport herself back to this world. And she basically is just trying to give all of herself to him. Now, my issue with it is he's going to end up being one of those characters who's like, allergic to women. Basically like, oh, don't touch me, we can't do that, or, whatever. And it's going to be one of those anime to where nothing actually happens between them. And maybe it will at the end of the 12 episodes, but the journey there is going to be rough. And I just cannot stand these types of main characters. Especially if you have somebody of this nature like Maribel, who's this dark elf, who is, head over heels and, vowing herself to him and wanting to give body, mind, and soul, and he's just not reciprocating that. It's like, okay, either tell her you're not interested, go back to your world, or go all the way. There's not really an in-between. And when the characters live in between of like, oh no, I'm gonna pass out if I see a big biddy, it's like, oh, I don't find it entertaining, and I don't find it funny. And I know sense of humor when it comes from Japan doesn't always translate over to the West very well. I know that maybe in Japan they find this very, very funny and very comical, and they enjoy it a lot. And if you don't think that they do, then there's the reason there. Then what's the reason we get an abundance of shows with main characters like this is because they genuinely find it interesting and funny. That just doesn't, it's just not me. I don't find it funny. I didn't laugh during this whole episode. And I think the actual story to itself isn't that interesting. Although it could be, it's one of those things to where I think this is just a poor excuse for fan service, but a fan service that's not going to go anywhere. Again, if your mission is just, I want to see a dark-skinned elf and I want to see all of her, and you want to enjoy all that fan service, more power to you. I think you're going to get exactly what you're looking for here. But if you're on the other side of the coin to where you're like, okay, I love the fan service stuff, but I want it accompanied with a really deep story or really funny stuff that happens, you know, I think that at the end of the day, there's going to be one to where, you know, she enrolls in school and he's going to get into promiscuous situations with maybe other girls or other schoolgirls that like him too. Maybe the Dark Elf is going to end up competing with one of the other girl or multiple girls from his school. And we're going to be able to see a lot of different female body parts and stuff like that. But I don't think anyone's going to go all the way with Hinata. And I think we might not even get like a kiss or anything, you know? And I think that is where the problem starts there. It's like, if we're going to go so deep into the fan service wheelhouse, go all the way or don't at all. That's always been my rule. Either give us everything or don't give us anything, you know? And I'm not saying that we actually need to physically see it. It's just, you know, when they hint, they can cut to black. There's a lot of anime out there that it does it very tastefully. And you're like, okay, you feel vindicated. You're like, you know that when the screen went to black, you know what happened there. And the characters reconfirm that kind of after the fact. That's all you need. You don't actually need to see it on screen because then that is hentai. So you don't need to actually see it. And I don't think we need any of that. But it's one of those things to where it's like, if we're going to go all the way or don't. But then you don't have a show. So anyway, should you watch it? My answer is I think no. I think this is a total waste of time. I don't think this is one that you need to be waiting for each and every week. Maybe if you have strong interest at the end of the season, right after all 12 episodes are launched, you watch it in like a 2-hour binge watch on a Saturday or a Sunday or the middle of the night at midnight on a Friday night, or if you're in school after a school night or after a hard day at work or something. But I don't think this is something that you wait each and every week for. And I don't think the fan service is going to live up to your expectations, nor do I think they'll live up to mine. And if you're just someone in here just for the fan service, you just want to see a sexy dark elf, you know, once a week, and you have 12 minutes to spare, go for it. But, you know, my blanket answer is I don't think this is I think this is a waste of your time. I think the first episode was a 5 out of 10. Nothing really interesting happened. The characters aren't that interesting. The animation is really good. But the fan service, you know, they censored it out. I'm sure they'll have an uncensored version. But it's kind of one of those situations like High School DxD where they decided in the 3rd season to censor out censor out all the boobs and stuff, you know, for whatever reason. And they undid that later by releasing an uncensored version. But it's one of those things to where it's like, if that's the whole reason for your show to exist, if you remove that, then what's the point? So anyways, those are my feels. Those are my thoughts. Let me know your guys' thoughts. I'm not watching this for the season. I'm sticking with it's not worth it. And I just don't think it is. So if you guys want to see any more Yandere Dark Elf, you know, I hope that you guys enjoy it. Let me know your final thoughts in the comments. Hit me with the like before you leave. And of course, subscribe to the channel. Appreciate you guys being here. I'll see you on more anime videos on this channel or the other. Peace out.